Sifu Rafael is the founder and host of Coaching Call, Heroes Rising, The Seer Show, and New Tip Daily. He works with individuals, groups, and businesses and helps them find clarity, purpose, and understanding of who they really are in business and personal life. Sifu Rafael has used his skills to develop a variety of multifaceted businesses in the martial arts and fitness industries. He owns and operates a 10,000 square foot martial arts and fitness facility in New York. Jose Escobar is an award-winning, nationally recognized personal development speaker, published author, and sales professional. He leads compelling, high-level communities consisting of entrepreneurs and advanced leaders through his two business models, the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf and the Connected Leaders Academy. He is also the co-host of Heroes Rising.
Nikki, happy Friday. How are you?
Happy Friday, Sifu. I am excellent. How are you?
Exceptional. Getting better every day.
Love it, always.
I want to thank you for helping me out with the show. I know Jose is busy with parenting duties, which is incredible. Him and his wife just had their 6th baby. What a gift, huh?
I know. He's got his hands full, and that's an understatement.
Yes, with all the businesses and all the things that he's always constantly doing. I just love the man. So let's go ahead and bring two incredible human beings who are going to be joining us on the show. James, welcome. Come on board. And Jonathan, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on Heroes Rising. How are you each?
I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I am wonderful. I have been waiting a long time to get on this thing, so it's quite nice.
Well, we love having you. So today we want to talk about mastering cybersecurity and personal growth. Gentlemen, this is open conversation. So cybersecurity is something that really touches all of us, whether we like it or not. Unless you're living under a cave or in a cave, I mean under a rock or in a cave, then that doesn't affect you. But the rest of us, it does. And I know, Jonathan, you've done a lot of things in this realm. So would you start sharing with us? And we'd love to know more about it. And of course, James Muller, woof, man's a powerhouse. So let's go with you, Jonathan, if you don't mind.
I think you're right. Frankly, I think even the people that are under that cave are going to experience some form of cyber attack or data leak at some point in their life. If you've ever touched a device or the internet or pretty much done anything, swiped a credit card, lived, it's going to touch you. So it's just a matter of when.
When? How do we protect ourselves when that does, or before that happens? Sometimes you have to act after it happens, but a lot of times we want to be proactive, right?
If you're tending to it after the fact, you're behind the 8 ball. It's too late. Trying to claw back your data from data brokers and the dark web, it's just not going to happen. It's Sisyphean. You're pushing that stone up a hill, and it's going to keep coming back down on you. So it's too late. On the preventative end, it's the same advice you hear everywhere you look. Unique, strong passwords, 2-factor authentication, keeping your devices updated. It's just that kind of hygiene that most people neglect. And you'll never make yourself perfectly secure, but you got to make yourself a little bit more secure than the person standing next to you. So
I love how you called it hygiene.
Me too.
So you brush your teeth every day, we hope. You shower every day, we hope. You need to take care of your socials. You need to take care of your phone, your computer, everything, right? And so you need to be proactive with everything. And I like the fact that you called it taking care of your hygiene, because you use it every day. You might as well clean it every day.
That's right.
Absolutely. Cool. Like mental hygiene.
That's it. We need that too, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
James, my friend, Let's hear from you.
Well, as someone who has to say, admittedly, practices the reactive part of this equation, it is always better to be ahead of the game instead of falling behind that game. Because while I can thankfully say I've never had to experience anything in terms of a personal cybersecurity issue, I've had notifications in the past from other companies that have experienced data leak and information being like moved from one place to another. And I have been on the witnessing end of experiencing people who have lost, their primary vehicles for engagement, like getting their social media hacks or getting their websites hacked and not having the proper channels to recover all of their stuff. And on social media in particular, once you lose that, it's very, very, very difficult to get it back. You have to literally start over again from scratch and then some. And then you have to fight the powers that be to get your original profile that was stolen deleted, if you can even do that, which is another experience in and of itself. So with I love that head with hygiene. It's something that you can choose to do. Like, we can choose not to shower, but after a while it's going to get the better of us if we don't. So it's always good to be on those things to where you're at least maintaining a certain standard for yourself to make sure you have adequate protection.
I agree with getting the better of us, but it's also going to get the better of the people around us, especially if you don't shower. But sometimes, because if you have all your contacts, if you have all your things based on social media, you really don't own it, do you, Jonathan? You don't own that. Somebody else does, right? So how do we? And I know that if we put something on our phone and our phone dies, maybe it's in the cloud. Maybe it's in the cloud. How important is it for us to be able to take this thing right here and be able to access it if it breaks?
Well, it depends what you've got on there. Your backup strategy is important to the extent your data matters, to the extent your photos matter, your everything that's on there. And nowadays we live on our devices. So you need to be able to lose your phone, grab a new one, like without missing a beat. And iCloud and things like that make that easy. But sometimes there's a trade-off between like privacy and convenience. So if privacy doesn't matter a ton to you, then the convenience is out there. iCloud makes it pretty easy.
Yeah, it sure does. Nikki, when you talked earlier about mental hygiene, I think that also goes into the cybersecurity aspect, because you may lose your mind if you're hacked. Right?
Oh,
You
totally.
may freak out. You may do things that are inappropriate, even because I lost my phone, or I got hacked, or even my bank account. All of these things affect every aspect of our lives. So tell us about the mental aspects that we can learn to negotiate with.
Well, so when I say mental hygiene, it's like the showering analogy that we use. I know in my world, being in the transformation business, I teach different tools to clients, and they'll say, well, I used that self-hypnosis, or I did my tapping, and then the following week, I got really angry at my mother-in-law. And it's like, well, if you showered last week, would you expect to be smelling fresh a week later? Like, this is something, it's not a one and done. It's something that you do every day. So with mental hygiene in respect to the tech hygiene, which I've called it too, it's just a matter of checking in, following up, cleaning things up. I've learned the hard way that even links and buttons on my website worked at one point and then stopped working. And I didn't know that until it was pointed out to me. So I think checking on things on a regular basis is just good practice.
Let me bring you guys to think about something. Earlier, I saw that Musk is releasing this taxis, right? Autonomous taxis, and even buses that can fit up to 20 people. There's absolutely no pedals and no steering wheel. And he figures by 2026, this is going to be common. And he said that by 2026, they're going to be less than 30 grand. So you can have your own taxi. You can send your kids out there and you don't have to chaperone them to the soccer fields or date night or whatnot, and it's all safe and everything. But is it or will it? Would you feel safe getting in a car without a steering wheel or without pedals? That's the question for everybody.
You know, he's a visionary, and it's
Absolutely.
He's been a little overly optimistic in terms of his timelines before. You know, he said that we were going to have fully autonomous cars by now, and some of the branding or marketing for Tesla advertises fully autonomous, but you peel it back, and we're not quite there yet.
No.
You ask, would we be scared of a car with no steering wheel or pedals? Potentially, yeah. I'm not that much more comforted by cab drivers. You know, I think a person behind the wheel can be just as dangerous. So it depends, you know, has it been tested? Has it been tested, and retested? Then I might feel a little bit more comfortable about it. But that first couple times you get in a car with nobody behind the wheel, it's going to be a little unsettling, I think.
I agree. I definitely want to make sure I don't go on any routes that have cliffs, just in case.
It's a very interesting point that we bring up the autonomy sense of things, because when we look at things that are autonomous, right, there are things that we don't, even we as people, we do things autonomously, like we walk, we talk. There are things that we don't think about that we just do. We breathe. That's autonomous, but it's also, there's an intentionality behind it as well. And when it comes to things that are completely, like, we'll say hands off or hands free, while it's convenient, that always leaves small room for error somewhere. And me personally, when it comes to being autonomous with certain things, you still have to frequently check on those things and those systems. Most of the time, when it comes to the human part of things, it's putting like things in place to keep us mentally hygienic, as Nikki had said, or just keep us on the mark in terms of like our cybersecurity checks. But honestly, I feel more comfortable behind the wheel with someone who's intentionally driving, because they know how to. They might not always do it appropriately or properly. I mean, I think all of us have been there. We're speeding or, rolling the stop sign or trying to get ahead of the, yellow light before it really turns red. But when there's absolutely no option to take the wheel in an emergency, that's what scares me more than anything else, because then there's no chance for me to take control of a possible issue if there's no way for me to put it in a different direction. So for me personally, as cool as it sounds, I always feel more comfortable with someone that knows what they're doing, or at least has the ability to control something in the immediate presence of space.
I love that, because I do like the override. I want the steering wheel. I want the brake pedal, if anything.
Yeah.
Even if there's no gas pedal, at least the brake pedal, just in case, right?
Yeah.
Nikki, what are your thoughts?
I agree with all of you. Maybe they don't have to have a steering wheel. Maybe they can make a joystick, but something that way we can override. And my mind goes to, what if the car decides to update itself when it needs to stop? That happens on our own computer. You go to open a Zoom meeting and it's got to update first and you can't get on your meeting. So I wonder if all of these nuances have been worked out. So I think the idea I have to get comfortable with it, because this is brand new and it seems wild to me.
And he's also talking about robots, actual robots that can come in. And the funny thing about what I saw is it said it can clean, it can do things. You can even hang out with it. Who's going to hang out with a robot and have a great conversation? Let me ask you, would you hang out with a robot? And some of the people in your life may already seem that way, but do you often hang out with them now?
Nice. I'm sorry, Jonathan. Go ahead.
I use ChatGPT daily, and in the last few months, they've added this feature to their like iOS version of it, where you can basically have audio conversations with ChatGPT. Now you can interrupt it, so you don't have to wait for the full like 10-minute speech that it's giving you before you tell it it's on the wrong track. And so sometimes if I'm walking to or from work, I'm having a conversation with ChatGPT and we're going back and forth and it's a full-on dialogue. So sometimes I honestly feel like I am hanging out with a robot. And it's a surreal, sort of bizarre experience, but it's cool at the same time.
It must be. I can only imagine, you're talking to a loved one and they say, so what kind of conversations did you have today? Look, I was talking to Chat. You said Chad or Chat? Wait a minute. So it's very interesting because what you do with your business, you use ChatGPT for business. Am I correct? You don't use it just because you got no one else to talk to, right?
No, I use it for everything that I do. It's not usually, telling it about my day and things that I'm excited about, and things like that. It's usually, talking through ideas, trying to organize, letters or, things like that, outlining articles that I'm going to write, things like that. So no, it's not filling a void of a lack of a friend. It's more just something productive to do with my walks to and from the office, as opposed to maybe a podcast or listening to music.
Actually, I like the way you use it. I think it's pretty brilliant on your part.
Thank you.
Here's where my nerd's going to come in. So forgive me in advance to everyone in this room and whoever decides to watch this. So as a avid video game player growing up, I was having conversations with robots long before robots were cool or technology. And as someone who immersed themselves in the video game world with non-playable characters, right, who don't have necessarily the personality, but when you're going through the video game experience, you do identify with characters sometimes, and they do resonate with you. And as the tech has gotten better in gaming, it's almost become AI-like. So when you say conversations with robots who can talk back, I'm kind of regressing to some of the video games I've played with characters that, especially with games where you can make choices that decided the outcome to the game. And what's funny to me is we talk to technology all the time. Right. We talk to Siri, we talk to Cortana, we talk to any voice Alexa, like we talk to them all the time, and they do talk to us back, but not to the extent of maybe like the personal state that we're looking at with new AI and robotics that are coming out. But that being said, even with all the technology in the world, we don't have the connection piece that we used to have before tech came. So I can see this as a double-edged sword, being very helpful in the fact that we have a ton of people who don't like to speak to people, but if they do wind up immersing themselves in conversations with something that mimics human behavior, it might build more confidence for people to talk to more people into the future. And that's something that I think will be very interesting to see as the next few years go on.
I like your thinking there.
Yeah, that's a great point. I love it. I use chat every day, like Jonathan. I use it for business. I use it for brainstorming ideas. I've even used it to help me to come up with responses. This customer is asking this, and can you help me brainstorm some responses? And it does. And it's always in a good mood. It's always pleasant and very nice. It tells me I'm awesome. It thanks me. I love it.
Now imagine. So what if technology went even further and we can put like a little collar, like an Alexa on our cat or our dog? We can talk to it and have it respond. Are you hungry now? Do you want a snack? Take me to to this place or that place. Can you imagine where technology can really evolve as we keep? Even though I'm having fun with it and kind of making fun of it, it's a serious thing. And I love what you talked about, James, because if people who are shy can learn to communicate because of this technology, and then they can actually maybe even rehearse their conversations first with another person, maybe respond this way, respond that way. Maybe they want to ask somebody out on a date and they don't know the response, and they go, okay, I'm going to ask Mary or I'm going to ask John on a date, and give me all the 12 different answers they can possibly give, some positive, some negative, and some they're not interested. Go. And then they can have that conversation before they actually engage with that person. So they feel more comfortable. I think that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could do that right now with ChatGPT.
I'm not that advanced, but thank you. I think that's pretty cool, that we can do that. But also, I have a couple of friends of mine who actually they have a couple of patents out on AI, and one of them has created Manoj. He's created something that to help doctors, foot doctors even, by putting somebody's feet in a shoe, and it tells them about their feet and all this kind of stuff. So we can definitely use AI to enhance our health. And one of the things that I'm always concerned about is, how long do I have? Right? Wouldn't it be incredible if we knew how long we actually had? Because would we take our life more serious? What if you only had 3 months to live, but you didn't know it? Right? And if we are able to extend whatever our lifespan is by 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, wouldn't that be incredible? And supposedly AI is going to allow us to be able to do that with the advancement in the technology, and also in the way we can prolong our lives because of the different things that technology will allow us to do. What are your thoughts on that?
At first, I don't know that I want to live to 150. I think that would probably have some diminishing returns at some point. I'd probably lose my friends unless everybody was on that same plan.
There you go.
But it it's exciting and it's scary at the same time. I don't know that I would want to know when my last day is going to be. I think that might mess with me a little bit. I think that should be left up to the imagination. But if AI can extend life expectancy, that wouldn't surprise me. It seems like the main, other than strange limitations that certain models have, like for whatever reason, it can't create an image of a person that doesn't have 11 fingers on one hand. For some reason, it's like fingers is the kryptonite for AI. There are strange limitations right now, but putting those aside, the real limitation on the power of it is our own minds. What we are using it for, and expanding the potential of it by opening your thoughts to something that you hadn't even thought of using it for. So to me, it's exciting. I'm constantly learning new ways to use it. And if it extends happy, healthy life expectancy, then great. I don't want to be hanging on at the end in a bad shape by any means.
I agree 100%. What are your thoughts, James?
I have several, but I'll try to tie it all in the best I can. So in terms of life extension and like education and being able to tell me, when it believes that I'll die. So I think all of that is both good and bad. The reason why I say that is because doctors do it right now. Well, if you diet, exercise, you do this, there's no reason why you shouldn't live to be 80, right? And sometimes that gives us a false sense of comfort and complacency, and we'll put off the things that we need to do now to take care of ourselves later. So if AI comes up and says, man, if we do all this stuff, you're going to live until like 95, 100. This is the expectancy that you have. This is my 10 a.m. AI appointment. All right, cool. I think I got time. But then I walk and I get hit by a bus that day. Well, obviously AI is wrong. And the reason why I say that is because life itself isn't meant to be educational. It's meant to be experienced. AI is definitely educational. It's informative. It's groundbreaking. It's revolutionary. But at the end of the day, it's not meant to replace life. And there is no way technology will ever replace life. It'll extend life and even give you the estimated guess on what life can be. I mean, we have technology now that goes into our, pacemakers that can replace organs or help us assist with things or help us with AFib and anything that could go on internally, right? There's tech that can help us with that. But it never really gives us like a definitive date. Not only that, if we're so worried about the end, we'll never focus on the present. And I think that's a lot of what the problem is today with our current technology is everybody's so wrapped up into the extension of what we have, which is the phone or the computer or the laptop, that we miss moments right here, right now. And a lot of life is being consumed by technology. So for me, it's one of those things where it could tell you all of the greatest things that it thinks will work for you. But if you're complacent, you're going to miss out on it anyway. And honestly, we don't know if tomorrow's even promised for the four of us here, and we're all pretty young. So to even think 5, 10, 50 years ahead is just me a little on the ignorant side, just because, you never know. There could be some life event that happens before the estimated guess that cuts anybody short.
No, I totally agree, but I still want to invite you to my 100th birthday party.
And I would love to be there.
And I'm inviting all of you, right? Because I am living in the present, but my present state has to be preparing for my future as well. Yeah. So the way I train, there's a reason I train every day, the way I eat, all these different things, I want to be able to be 100 and dancing at my party. And you guys know I like to dance. So it's for me, it's about movement. Every day I need to move. And that's part of my actions to allow me to plan ahead. And you're right. We don't know. I mean, you come into my 100th birthday party, as long as none of us get hit by a bus and die, you can get hit by a bus and live, but that's not what you want, right? We want to be able to prolong our lives. And like Jonathan said, he doesn't want to be there by himself because that would be boring. That's like living in a penthouse by yourself. It's boring.
Yep.
Same thing here in life. You want to help prolong the lives of those people around you. So when we take care of us, I think we also have to tell other people, hey, you know what? I want you at my birthday party, but I don't want you in a wheelchair or so I want you dancing with me. I want you at my party. I don't want you to zoom in on my party either, unless you're on a scooter. That's different.
A really cool one with no steering wheel or pedals.
There you go.
Make sure there's an e-stop.
So, Nikki, what are your thoughts?
Well, first, you're all invited to my grandmother's 100th birthday this March 2025.
Let's go.
That's the first stop. The second is I want to live for as long as I'm dancing and, able to move around. So for me, it's not about the number. It's about like enjoying life, right? And the third point is when I use ChatGPT, there's always this sentence very small at the bottom that says, chat makes mistakes. So please check this information. So we have the best information inside of ourselves. We know so much more than we think. And it's when we quiet ourselves and tune in, separate from all the noise, everything that we're taking in, we know we have answers. So that's my take on it. Ask yourself, trust yourself, feel into it.
That's it. Ask within. All the answers are there. I'd love for you guys to take a look at this video. Take a look.
In a world where words shape destinies and connections forge futures, this November 22nd to the 24th, Speaking Prowess brings you the ultimate hands-on workshop. We have a lineup of some of the most influential communication experts in the industry. These are the voices that will guide you on a journey to enhance your ability to connect, influence, and succeed. Sifu Rafael, master instructor and founder of Speaking Prowess, blends communication and leadership to help you reach your full potential. Dr. Oliver T. Reed, the international multi-best-selling author and motivational speaker, known as the writing coach, will help you craft your messages with precision. Jose Escobar, a nationally recognized speaker and leader, will guide you in mastering personal development and leadership skills. This is more than just an event. It's a game-changing, skill-building experience. Walk away with communication prowess that transforms your personal and professional life. Speaking Prowess, where communication becomes your superpower. Reserve your seat now.
Even communicating with ChatGPT, you have to know how to communicate with it, right, Jonathan? When you said you're walking to work, you're communicating with it, but if you give it the wrong prompts, it's going to take you in the wrong direction. So how important is that communication for you?
The prompt is everything. The people that give bad reviews that I talk to that don't like it, that say it's nothing more than Google, it's because that's how they're using it. You could go into ChatGPT and say, what's the weather today in Chicago? And maybe it'll, pull some weather service and tell you that, but you're not even close to scratching the surface of its potential, and you're limited by your prompts. What I've found sometimes is if you ask it how to do something, it's going to tell you how to do it. Whether you should do that is a different question, and that should be part of your prompt. You may ask it, how do I do something with a computer? And then if you just follow the directions, you may set yourself up for being hacked or something. And then if you follow up and say, well, I did what you told me to do, am I at risk? Oh, well, yes, you're at risk. You shouldn't have done that. I was just telling you how to do it. So there are certainly limitations in the prompts. It's like its own art, how to write a prompt or how to speak a prompt, as the case may be. I'm seeing it a little bit with my kids. When I was growing up, we would still have like Encyclopedia Britannica, like the physical paper copies of them. I think those are long gone. But my kids now, if I have my phone plugged in the car, they will use the audio version of ChatGPT to prompt their own type of learning, and the things that they're asking, they're usually funny because my kids are 5 and 3. So they're asking things like, is it dangerous to slap a shark, or to give like a wet willy to a gorilla, or things like that. So, it's funny to watch and to listen to the prompts that people give. But yeah, it is very important what exactly you're telling it to do or you're asking it for.
Sounds like you guys have fun driving.
Those conversations are usually pretty entertaining because it doesn't just say, yes, it's dangerous. It gives you a very structured answer. Yes, it's dangerous to slap a shark, and here's why. Number 1, they are predators. Number 2, they have sharp teeth, and it goes through a very articulate reasoning about why that's dangerous.
That's cool. That's cool.
It is very thorough, ChatGPT, I've noticed.
Mm-hmm. So we're going from mastering cybersecurity to ChatGPT, but we also wanted to talk about personal growth. So talk to us about personal growth. I'd love to know what your personal growth has been, whether it's through ChatGPT, whether it's through the use of an actual phone, your computer, reading a book, all the different things that we have at our fingertips. Books, right? So I have all different kinds of books by authors that have been sent to me. When we consider all that we do have at our fingertips, how do we use that stuff to not make it stuff, but make it unique to us? How do we engage it so we can have personal growth?
Sounds like a question for ChatGPT. I'm sure it would give you a pretty educated answer on that. I think it's different for everybody. Everybody's path is different. Everybody's professional life is different. So what their growth looks like is different.
I was asking your personal growth. How has it been? How has it changed for you?
It's hard for me to separate personal and professional. I don't ever really take off my lawyer hat, much to the disappointment of my wife. So those two are pretty intermingled for me. Over the last year or so, I've been on a huge marketing push. I went the first 12 years of my legal career learning the law, trying cases, being a lawyer, and doing almost zero networking, zero marketing. And so now I'm doing 12 years worth in a year because that's just my personality, everything to excess. And so now, I use ChatGPT to come up with marketing strategies, to come up with, networking things that are in my comfort zone. The name tag networking of walking into a conference room of lawyers and judges. I'm allergic to that, but I can find other forms that are more creative, that fit my personality better. And that's where I'm at right now.
So your wife wants you to be a non-lawyer at home.
Or she would like me to not lawyer her.
So is it always a negotiation?
Well, she is a lawyer also.
Look at that.
We both are divorce lawyers. Not that we ever argue, because why would a married couple do that? But if there's an occasion where there's some sort of disagreement, those disagreements are long because lawyers like to talk and they like the sounds of their voice. So that things do tend to be in negotiation. I think that's the case in every marriage, lawyers or otherwise. But ours just tend to be a little bit more articulate, structured, something like that.
You go back to case numbers, right? I'm just kidding. James, what are your thoughts?
This is a space that I've lived in very much since 2012. With everything that we have at our disposal and fingertips, kind of answers the question through even cybersecurity and AI and all the tech that we have. Tools are only as good as the adaptability of the person willing to use them and the level of experience that they decide to use them with. For instance, Jonathan made the beautiful point with ChatGPT. You can treat it like Google and it will answer you like Google, or you can treat ChatGPT as a master marketing business that has 35 plus years experience being able to bring the best out of the business, putting your business, your niche, your message, your vision, give me the best tools for this job, go, and it's going to treat it exactly like that. So it's all into the person's willingness and adaptability to be able to do those things. I'm a little more on the old-fashioned side. I love books. I love personal experiences. Nothing will replace a great conversation. And with the exception of Jonathan, I've only met him this morning. I've had amazing conversations with you, Sifu, face-to-face, with you, Nikki, face-to-face. And I don't think anything will replace those, because those are what, walking away from how I feel after those conversations, learning about you guys, has imparted things with me that I wouldn't necessarily get out of technology. Now, for books, same exact thing. I get the best out of the author because they put 2 or 3 years of experience into one book for me to grab. And, it's the implementation and what I do after the fact that means the most and matters the most. That is more of a necessity than I think anything in the world today. And I think too many people take it for granted just how much is at our disposal.
I agree 100%. And thank you for that and bringing it to that perspective, because it is, like both you and Jonathan have said, and Nikki, it is what we do with what's in front of us, right? And yes, we've had some great conversations, but not enough.
I agree.
You gotta change that.
1000%, especially if I'm making it to the 100 birthday parties for everyone in this chat today. So that's the first thing. And to tie in with your previous question, to go in with that, for me personally, my growth over the last 3 to 5 years alone has been exponential in not only just knowledge, but placing myself in positions that I wouldn't normally feel comfortable doing and learning from that. 5 years ago, I was still an operations manager at FedEx, and now I can humbly stand before everyone here and say that I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a founder of a business with 2 different models that's in media and coaching, and that's leveled me up literally in every level of my life. And to see where I've gone because of personal growth, my relationships are better, my communication skills are better, my energy level is better, and just because overall helping understand who I am and where I want to go, and being able to incrementally develop and level myself up as a human being automatically helps me with everyone else around me, as you had said before, because now my dynamic is different. Now my mindset's different. Coming from a place now that's not the mundane, it's every day is an experience, and which ties into, again, we want to live to however long we want to live to, but we also have to be very vital and grounded in here today, and what we do today affects tomorrow. So growth is inevitably irreplaceable should you decide to do it, but it's the doing that most people don't want to do.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Nikki, we'd love to hear from your thoughts.
Well, like James, personal growth, it has been something that has been a priority in my life for 30 years now. It's something that it's like who I be, what I do, how I operate. I started with books, reading so many of those personal development books and self-help books and classes and workshops, and then in the training that I do today. And what I've learned recently is more about the implementation. Like James was saying, we could take in so much information, and then what are you doing with it? So I love learning about personal growth and all things related. So now I look for what's one takeaway, what's one golden nugget that I can implement and start making a new habit in my life.
Love it. Every day, right? Every day. What can we do?
Every day.
How can we adapt? And that's a growth mindset for sure. Because I guess I'm going to call it a closed mindset, is somebody who says, I got it all. I need nothing else. I'm good. I'm good. And you were good yesterday. How about today? What's happening today? So I'd love to share with you guys, because Jose is a sponsor, not only here, but forget that. He's my co-host. So let's go ahead and bring out about Jose. Take a look.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Great community, and the 3 of us are part of it. Maybe Jonathan will decide he wants to come join us as well.
Yes.
Think about life experiences, right? Jonathan, you decided to become a lawyer for whatever reason, and you did it for 12 years. But now you said you're taking those 12 years and now you're really honing in on marketing and all these different things that are going to help elevate your next level, right? Because when we get to a level, at the end of a level, we're not really notified unless you get fired from that level. But so a lot of times we may be starting a new chapter in our lives that we didn't even realize. Maybe it was last month. Maybe it was yesterday. How do we adapt? Is it because of the actions that we're taking every day that we can start to go into a new level? Because maybe we're saying, you know what? Today is the day that I'm going to make this happen. Even though you may have been thinking about it for a while, right? So you're going from this point and then all of a sudden you're moving here and you go, how do I get there? I need to take these actions in order to get to this place. So how have you all been able to do those things? And are you journaling so that you can leave? Remember, success leaves breadcrumbs, right? So let's hear it.
I think you're right that you may cross into a new chapter even unknowingly, and it doesn't necessarily translate to a good new chapter. You could be starting a bad new chapter unintentionally, unknowingly. Hopefully that's not what I've done when I've embarked on this new marketing campaign. I don't think it is, but I'm still sort of at the infancy stage of it somewhat. I don't journal really. I guess if you looked at my ChatGPT history over the last couple months, that's
your journaling.
But other than that, I don't really journal. There's probably a value to it. I encourage clients to do it sometimes as sort of a healthy outlet for some of the frustration people go through in a divorce. But yeah, I'm definitely in a new chapter. It just remains to be seen how long this chapter is going to last before the next one, and then what it's going to translate into for the next one. So it's exciting.
It is exciting. It's exciting. Nikki, you are evolving, right? And before you said you've been doing this for 30 years, but it's very difficult when you only look 21, my dear.
Oh, thank you.
Bravo, Sifu.
I started very young. I started in my mother's womb. I'm kidding.
There you go. That's it. Before then.
Before past life. Yeah.
So talk to us about you and how you're dealing with the changes that you're going through.
So I've had several chapters. First chapter was going to pursue the dream. That was the acting dream, moving across the country to LA. And then there was when I chose to kind of pack my bags and come back home. And there was a chapter of living someone else's dream. And that was becoming an elementary school teacher. And it was through the personal growth specifically of questioning everything, questioning the limits that you've learned. When I started questioning, that's when I started the next chapter, which was resigning from that job. And the new chapter was building my coaching business.
Yeah. But you're not done, are you?
No, never. No. Always learning and growing and leveling up. But it's a journey. And I used to journal a lot more. I journal less because I realized some of the journaling was keeping me rooted in the current issues and challenges that I was facing. So I do a lot more of meditation and just sitting in silence, which can be uncomfortable initially until you start to get used to it. But just sitting in silence and listening for the answer, because I'll have an idea and then I'll take action on it, and then it's a positive result. So I do more of that these days versus journaling.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about you, my friend.
Oh man. Well, it all started back in 1986 when I was born. And that was when, no, I'm just kidding. What I find about chapters and life experiences is that you always learn something, whether it's what to do or what not to do. And what I find through the evolution of my experience in life is everything that I have gone through and every decision I've ever made has led me to literally this moment that I'm in right now. I did not used to journal until I started. And when I started, I realized that it helps in a myriad of ways. And one of the things that I try to live by in business and in life, especially now that I have a 3-year-old son, is I want to be able to live the example that I talk. So I journal a lot, and I encourage people to journal every day if possible. It doesn't have to be an elaborate, 30-minute experience, but just to get whatever's in your mind out. because then that leaves more room for clarity. That leaves more room for understanding where you're at. And not only that, I agree with meditation and being still, because that zeroes in on every other white noise distraction that you could run into as well. And it helps fully set you up with being in the present moment. Those two things have changed my life in so many ways, because now when I assess my risk in making a decision to do something, it's not based on variables that don't exist. It's based on my logical sense and capability. Not only that, like I said, I want to be an example. So I've made mistakes in the past. I've made wrong decisions, and I've learned from those decisions. I'm not going to hide those decisions because they help shape me into who I am today.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say moving forward is, like we've talked about in terms of, just stuff that we've done. Don't be like this me, or don't be like that, or, the experience, especially when you're leveling up. And I find what you had said to be very brilliant is that we don't know when we level up. It just happens. And the reason why is it's not this grandiose epiphany moment that goes, oh man, you're at the next level. Like, most people consider leveling up in life their age, right? So, oh, I'm 30, I'm 38 years old. Nikki's 21. I don't know how old Sifu and Jonathan are, right? But we equate, if we meet a 55-year-old, we equate that with life experience and a level, even if that 55-year-old still acts like they're 17. Right. So it's really interesting to see. And for me, what I found during my experience with growth is that it's the little decisions that I've made that have had the largest impact in my life. Eating healthier, making those small movements, reading books, being time to meditate, stay present, make room to spend time talking to my wife at least 15 minutes a day, just to talk about how our day went. Still actively date my wife, because even though I've been married and I've dated her forever, doesn't mean that, I'm entitled to that level of that expectancy, right? Because levels, as Jonathan had put it, go up and they go down. And that's something that we have to be mindful of as well. So for me, it's always the little things. And the little things have led me literally to the big decisions that I don't think are big anymore, because they're just nuanced. It's just things that happen. And I really, I implore people to not think of trivial decisions as trivial decisions, because every decision that we make ripple affects our future, as Sifu has pointed out in the 150-year AI suggestion, right? It's what we do now that matters. And as we hone in on those things, those are leveling up. And to Jonathan's point, we can make decisions that put us in bad chapters, but that bad chapters might not always be a bad thing. That might be the lesson for the next level to springboard you into the more positive. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And I always take every example and everything as a learning opportunity. And I do my best to not emotionally attach it and stay there. And then that's been working of itself too, because humanity in and of itself is very emotionally driven. We have to teach ourselves how to be good, not to misbehave. So to learn when things are what they are for what they are, and not how we could change them, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, that also releases a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety off of us to be able to focus on more prevalent things as well. So I know I can rant about this forever, but I'll just sum it up with, little things have massive impact, and it's how you handle those things that matter most in any experience.
Without a doubt, without a doubt.
Well said.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with everything that everybody said. And Jonathan, you talked about that maybe your ChatGPT excursions, if you will, could be part of your journaling. Think about this for a second. James, you did something that I loved when I saw it. You may not know I saw it, but maybe I put a little heart on it. You had put a video out when you proposed to your wife.
Yes.
That was a great video. And if I didn't know you, it wouldn't mean anything to me. But because I know you a little bit, I got to meet your son, I got to meet your wife, it meant more for me. But the beautiful thing about that is that right there, my friend, was journaling so your son can see it later on. So whether we're writing in a journal or we're speaking, we're leaving something about us. We're leaving something. I got to be honest with you. I wish my great-great-grandfather journaled. He lived to be 113.
Wow.
113. I want to know what he did every day. I want to know what he ate. I want to know all these things because guess what? If that's what I want to do, and my goal is to kick his butt, right, and live longer than that. But he had all his senses about him. He
Amazing.
had loving people around him. That is what we want to be able to accomplish. But I cannot know about his life except for what maybe people pass down. But all I know is how long he lived. I don't know. And I knew that he had all his senses and he was walking around. He was not in a hospital. And that, had I known what actions he took, because maybe if he would have journaled, it would have helped me to know my great-great-grandfather. So Jonathan, even though you may not be doing it, maybe your children would love to know about that case that you won, about that trip that you went on with your wife before they were born, all these different little things. Maybe just that journaling, not for you, not for the selfish part, but to leave it for someone else to discover it. Because imagine if books were never written. What about the Bible? What about anything out there? So journaling allows us to, I believe in journaling. So journaling, and you don't have to sit at a desk and write. And what do I have to write about? You have a thought, pick up your phone, hit record. It takes 30 seconds. I'm thinking of eating this terrible food, or I'm going to eat this orange because yes, I eat healthy. So, and I ate a banana earlier. So maybe just say, I had for lunch, I had cabbage and whatever, whatever it is. But those little things will encourage someone else to know you. 500 years from now, I want my children's to know me. And yes, that's maybe why I do these podcasts, because guess what? They're going to live, unless the internet blows up, I'll be there forever. Right?
That's right.
But I also journal. I actually write. I love writing, and journaling allows me, like you talked about earlier, James, brain dumping. We are filled with so many messages every day. Which ones do we allow to enter? And then which ones do we allow to fulfill us? And then those are the ones that we have to put down. Everything else is garbage. If you don't use it, if it doesn't align with your purpose, it's garbage. Listen, take out the garbage every day. Don't keep it. Your house is going to smell.
That's right.
Just saying. So that's my 2 cents on journaling and why it may be important, because we're not doing it just for us. So, and I know anybody out there who says, that's not for me, but don't do it for you. Do it for the ones that are going to get to know you when you're not around.
That's right. That's such a good point, Sifu. And it makes me think of the movie Bridges of Madison County with
Never saw
Meryl
it, but
Streep.
thank you for telling me.
Meryl Streep and Clint Eastwood, when she wrote her everything about her 4-day experience when her husband and kids went out to town. Have you seen that movie? And she had this beautiful relationship with this photographer that came to town. And then when he left, she went back to living life for her husband and children. And after she died, the kids were cleaning out and found a journal that she kept that shared the whole story. And they got to learn that part of her mom, where at first they were upset by it. But then they realized, wow, she was this woman that we didn't even know, and how nice it would have been to know her. But at least we got to read about it in the journal that she kept.
It's the little things, right? And sometimes we don't even think about it. Jonathan, does that make you want to start journaling just even on your phone?
So what you said resonated with me, that basically you can journal in a variety of different ways. You know, everybody's going to have their own style. If I were to take out a paper and pen, my journal would be useless because of my handwriting. But something that I do is I'm photo journaling. I have 40,000 pictures on my phone. And unlike when we grew up and it was like whip out a camcorder on your shoulder and try to capture a moment, now you can whip out your phone and you can capture that moment in real time, in a quality that can be viewed even 100 years from now. So, you know, my kids are going to have that benefit of being able to see just a huge collection of photos and videos and albums from trips that I don't have. I don't have that luxury because it was a lot harder when you had like actual film canisters or Polaroids and you took them to Walgreens to get printed. Like everything was different and it's easier now. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But imagine if you took a picture, but then you put some captions behind it so that you know exactly. It looks like you were at the beach. No, you were in Greece at the beach, right? So that makes a bigger impact on that 100 years from now when they see it, right? So guess what? This has been a lot of fun. Thank you all. And it is the time to tell you thank you for coming and sharing your knowledge, your expertise with us, and making Heroes Rising a show worthwhile. Thank you. Thank you, Nikki, for stepping in and helping out. And James, brother, you know I love you. And Jonathan, a pleasure to meet you and get to know you a little bit. And you have a mission, my friend, and I think you're on a worthwhile mission. Keep going. Keep going.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you both. It's been amazing, as always.
As always.
You know, I like to have fun. So hang on. We're going to say goodbye to everybody. So just hang on, everybody, for a second. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time.